And if you got a daughter older than 15, I'm a raper. Hey, whoa, man alive. Whoa, way to be quick. Hey, whoa, hey, step up, bring it. Hey, whoa, hey, whoa. Yes, sir. Somebody gon' get their ass kicked. Somebody gon' get their wig split. Somebody gon' get their ass kicked. Somebody gon' get their wig split.
This is Bob the Beast Snap, and you're listening to Ramsey on Word on the Street. I'm on the street, baby. Word.
Bob the Beast Sap intro. I will never get tired of it, and I will never disrespect that man. Bob Sapp gave us time out of his life. Genuinely good guy, good heart, good soul. Yeah, he's a big motherfucker. Let's not lie, but his heart. If you can hear it when you talk to him, and you know how he interacts with fans, and it's a damn shame what happened to him, because what happened to him is the same thing that happened to Miss Jessica I. Ambush journalism is what I refer to it as. We'll get to that, Jessica I. We'll talk about the elimination of the knockout of the night bonus and the submission of the night bonus in the UFC. It's now going to be replaced by performance of the night bonus, which... well, you're welcome to join in on the discussion, calling 512-782-WORD. That's 512-782-9673. Or you can Skype call in. Just add me on Skype. Word on the Street podcast, all one word on Skype. You can call in that way too. With me, as always, producing the show tonight. Thank you very much for doing so. Jake, take a second here, introduce yourself. You know, what's the word on the street over there?
We will listen to a politician with the same story every 4 years with that sorry-ass line of shit. But these fucking momos will get offended because I say the word fuck. Forget about the curse words. So next time you listen to your bullshit congressman or your bullshit governor or even a bullshit president or somebody who's running for president and he's hitting you with that same force shit that they give you every 4 fucking years and you still vote for the fucking momo and then you get mad, think about me saying the word fuck.
It's a pleasure being on Ramsey's, as always. Follow us on Twitter at The MMA Podcast. Visit themmapodcast.com. We do it every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Pacific. And as always, man, I enjoy the Word on the Street. It's the best podcast on the fucking internet. Let's do this shit, son.
Hell yeah, the best underground MMA podcast. Of course, Jake from The MMA Podcast. Just go to themmapodcast.com for proof, or follow him on Twitter at the MMA Podcast. He's got the best above ground mainstream MMA podcast, in my opinion. Way better than these ambushing motherfuckers who I'm going to address. Some of them by name. I'm going off on blast, people. Now here's the thing. We're also going to talk about the attacks on a few of our friends here of the show by some Brzezinski Owl guy, MMA Owl. I don't know what the hell it is. We'll look it up in a little bit. A lot of people to put on blast, all right? And this is not ambush journalism. This is calling out those motherfuckers that do it. There's a difference. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I will never, ever ambush someone who agrees to speak to me and be a guest on this show. I won't do it. All right, it's cowardly. It's weak. It's gotcha journalism, and I'm not gonna play that shit. Okay, I don't give a fuck about hits. I don't care how many people are listening or if anyone is. I just know that anytime I have the chance to speak to someone one-on-one like a human being, I'm not going to hit them with shit they don't want to talk about or aren't supposed to talk about unless they volunteer that to me, all right? Yes, sure, sometimes you got to ask a tough question, but there's a difference between that and sticking a microphone in someone's face and pushing them into a corner. That's exactly what happened to Jessica I. She, of course, fighting for the UFC. She won a decision at UFC 166 in Houston, which I was actually at, my first live UFC event, to tell you the truth. Didn't get well. It was a decision that was overturned, but it was originally her win. Now that's all gone because well, she tested positive for a banned substance. Okay, fine, that's fair. That's within the rules. Thing is, that wasn't enough for people. They wanted to know what banned substance. That's fine. Okay, that's within the rules. Some people went to the athletic commission, submitted a request for some sort of equivalent of the Freedom of Information Act, which apparently gives you access to everybody's medical records, so to speak, whenever you're testing. And so it turns out the banned substance, Texas Athletic, the athletic commission first said, it was a blood thinner. Of course, that wasn't enough for these ambush assholes. Or maybe they were just doing their job, who knows. But they, for some reason, even though they said it was a blood thinner, somebody felt the need to dig a little deeper even still. That wasn't enough, right? So it turns out she tested positive for cannabinoids. How do you pronounce it, Jake? You're from Colorado, Denver. Cannabinoids.
Yeah, she failed her drug test for a substance that they're selling to everybody over 21, like a half mile from where I live.
Right, it's sweeping through the nation. Every state is going to legalize it eventually. I mean, it's a plant. It's marijuana. She smoked some weed. She tested positive for it. She got her win ruled no contest, overturned win. That's fair. Now, that was all handled months ago. To her, that was probably the past. All she's doing is looking forward to this next fight against, I guess, Alexis Davis. Is that even who she's fighting? I don't even...
She's fighting Sarah Kaufman at UFC 170, which is in like 10 days in Vegas.
Oh, who's
Oh wait,
fighting
no.
Alexis Davis?
Sorry, the fight
The fight that got
totally
overturned
fucked it
was
up.
Kaufman.
Yes, her next fight, I believe, was against Alexis Davis, UFC 170. You were right.
Right. As far as we know, that fight's still on.
Correct.
But here's what. So she tests positive for that, for smoking weed, which I have to stress this is not cheating. All right. You're not. Nobody's claiming. Well, some people have made a ridiculous claim that marijuana is a PED, but anybody that smoked it, I mean, she wasn't juicing. All right. She wasn't cheating. She wasn't taking steroids. No, not even TRT. Nothing like that. She just had a puff here and there, which I got to say, most of the population in this country has done at some point in their lives. If you haven't, you probably will someday, or there's something wrong with you. Honestly, it's a plant. All right. I mean, we cut up plants, we dice them up, we juice them, we cook them, we eat them, fruits, vegetables. But if you light one on fire and breathe in those fumes, for some reason, you're the stigma that falls on you is it's ridiculous. Okay, it's if it were something like that gummy bear juice, to where it's making you bounce off the walls and super strength or whatever, I would understand. It's marijuana, people. It makes you chill the fuck out. Who knows why she was token? I mean, she said something about a car wreck or an injury or anything, but it's neither here nor there. Most people know the story. The outrage on my part is that she did everything she was supposed to do. The TAC, the Texas Athletic Commission, tells her, you failed. They try to handle it discreetly, privately. Like I've said, I'm from Austin, Texas, broadcasting live from the compound here in Austin, Texas. We are gentlemen here, okay? the Texas, the Athletic Commission here in Texas probably was just, just helping the girl save some face. No reason to be, she was basically being given a slap on the wrist. It's the equivalent of, let's say you're pulled over for going too fast or something, or not signaling or something. And instead of like, taking you to jail or something, the cop just writes you a little citation, little fine. You get a little ticket. But this is the equivalent of you getting the ticket, you handling it, you paid it off, you did what you had to do. But there happened to be this one asshole citizen just lurking nearby, watching everything. And what he's got to do is fucking just he's got to write the police commissioner and say, "Hey, what was going on here with this stop here? This person only got a citation. Well, I demand to know exactly what it was for." Bullshit. Someone's tweeting at me. It's Elena. Hi, Elena. By the way, shout out to everybody. Happy birthday, Connor Hune. If it is his birthday, according to Skype, it is. Basically, what happened was Jessica I pays her dues. She gets her citation. She pays her fine. Everything's all right until, of course, someone has to stick a microphone in her face and ask her exactly what the banned substance was, what the deal was. And to her, she was basically, it was being kept not under wraps, but I mean, it was all dealt with. It was in the past, and now, but suddenly someone's finding out, someone's coming around asking questions. Instead of doing the smart thing and just saying no comment, which is her biggest mistake here. Her biggest mistake. Saying no, she didn't say, screw off. She made the mistake of, denying it. She did lie about it.
Which is kind of sad that the state of like MMA, BS journalism, and ambush journalism is at the state where you literally have to be rude, like you can't be, straight up with people because all they're looking for is a story that's gonna get hits.
Exactly. It's the vulture MMA media. I guarantee you, anybody that talked to her, they weren't looking to. I mean, I guarantee you, every one of these vulture media journalists coming around sticking a microphone in her face asking questions, they don't give a damn about her. They probably opened up every conversation with her with how's your dad doing? I heard about your dad. Her father's dying of cancer. All right, dying. Honestly, I mean, you can all send out your prayers, and hopefully he'll have a long enough life to see his daughter fight in the UFC and win.
And donate to the GoFundMe she has set up.
Right, GoFundMe.com, I believe, or I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just look up Randy I. That's her father. Anyway, she's got all this shit on her mind. Someone comes up to her, microphone in her face. How's your dad? Whatever. How's it going? Can you talk to us for a couple minutes? Give us an interview. We're interested in your upcoming fight. What's this about your overturned win? What was this banned substance? What's going on here? They start in with their shit. They don't give a damn about her. They just, like you said, they want the hits on their website. They are the gotcha media, and that makes me sick. You'll never see me trying to play gotcha with somebody that's like willing to give me the time out of their life to talk to me and be a guest on my show, or even talk to me in person. I'm not gonna pull that shit on them. I don't care. These MMA media superstars, like Kevin Iole for one. I think I said who didn't go after her? Who didn't? All of them, vultures. All of them playing the gotcha game. They don't give a damn.
I forget who it was, but one of them saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm personally gonna go to the Nevada State Athletic Commission and ask them why they're letting her fight if she failed a drug test." It's like, really, dude? Like, this literally this could be the first and last time her dad ever sees her fight. And I think it was you who made the point on Twitter of it, like her dad, this might be the only time he can ever watch her fucking fight. Or I don't know about the only time, but maybe in the UFC. And yeah, it's and you have this ambush journalist going to like literally pretty much. It seems like there would be no other intent than trying to get Jessica I pulled from the fight, which is I don't know.
Exactly.
That's a pretty shitty thing to do to somebody who has
Ex-
done nothing to
exactly.
you.
Exactly. And here's where, and some people would argue against that. They'd be like, oh, no, it's a good, fair question to ask. Why is she being allowed to fight? Well, because she paid her dues. She did what she had to do. And again, I have to stress, she wasn't cheating. All right. She wasn't on steroids or juicing or anything like that. But nope. You get these guys, they won't stop. They don't give a damn about her. They didn't give a damn about any of the fighters, really, personally. They just, I mean, they would sell anybody, any one of the fighters out just to get their scoop. That's
They would
all they fucking care about.
they would
And it's
probably
sick.
they would probably whore out their own mothers for like an extra 100 hits on their most recent story.
I guarantee you, they do worse than that, man. Honestly, they would. I mean, you see it right now. They all hopped as soon as one of them, Yahoo Sports, just straight up no, well, I don't even know if you even call it printing anymore. Puts out the online article calling her a liar. You saw them all line up and do the same. How many articles were there today? Just berating her, chastising her, for what? For not burying herself, for not volunteering the fact that, hey, the banned substance, it wasn't a blood thinner. It was actually marijuana. I was smoking weed. Who the fuck would be stupid enough to say that? Instead, you're supposed to say no comment. If there's, like I said, that's the only mistake she made, in my opinion. She doesn't owe it to anybody to explain what the athletic commission found. She doesn't owe that to anybody. That's, but you see in Mr. Kevin Ioli's Yahoo Sports article, some shit about, excuse me, guys, about how we have the right to know everything about a fighter's medical history. And shut the fuck up. Shut up. All right. She paid her dues. And, and how many times do I have to say it? She wasn't cheating. All right. It's a total different story. She smoked a plant. I smoke marijuana. I'll disclose that right now. I smoke it every damn day. In fact, Jessica, this one's going out to you right now on the Word on the Street podcast. This bud's for you, actually. I'm lighting up because I know you're probably going to be too scared to for a while, but you shouldn't be. All right? You should be proud, everybody out there. It's just a plant. Watch, I'm going to light it and smoke it right now.
I'm gonna join you.
I feel better already, but I'm still pissed off. Now, she lied to a few people. That's not cool, of course. But at the same
But
time, if you're cornered and you don't know any better, she's a fresh girl. This was she was coming off her first UFC fight. I mean, I don't even know, how old is she anyway? I don't even,
she's 27, and let's not pretend like Jessica I is the first person to deny a failed drug test. Like, I'm
oh
pretty
no.
sure that's standard procedure as far as like what athletes do. And I'm a huge fan of sports, whether it's football, hockey. Luckily, you don't see too much PEDs in hockey, but baseball and football definitely HGH and PED issues, and everybody in the world denies it. So let's not act that an athlete denying a drug test is like something we can hang him over. Like, give me a fucking break.
And it's an unspoken, I mean, just like we know that most football players, it's come out, most baseball players, athletes, even stupid Lance Armstrong on his stupid bike was taking steroids, all right, and lying about it. Lying. He saw him cry on Oprah. I don't even think he cried or whatever, but just liars, all right? They lie about it because what? You're supposed to fuck um who hasn't lied about some shit they did that wasn't any but just I mean, I've lied to people just because it was none of their fucking business, just to get them out of my face. All right, but no, Jessica I was backed into a corner. All right, she answered questions that she shouldn't have even have had to address or be asked. All right, the athletic commission's to answer for that. We tried to be gentlemen here in Texas. Like I said, it was only until these vultures kept digging and digging because they wanted to know exactly what was in her piss. All right, they wanted to know what was in her piss, exactly what it was. Not enough that they said banned substance. Not enough. Not enough that they said it was a blood thinner, which marijuana is a blood thinner. Technically, that is not a lie. Get that straight, Kevin Iole. No, she did lie to a few people. Yeah, I'm not going to name any names. That's not cool. But at the same time, you have to understand where she was coming from, what position she was painted in. To her, it had already gone away. She'd already paid her fine. She paid something like $2,000, and she's on a like some sort of probationary status for a year or something. I don't have all the details on because I don't care because it's all bullshit. It's a plan.
Yeah,
she wasn't cheating.
I really don't like the people like all right, like crucify her for failing a drug test. You're not, supposed to fail a drug test. Whatever. The fight was overturned, but people like trying to crucify her for lying. Like my good friend Yao the Truth, he would never fail a drug test. It's actually an inside joke where he's like, "Oh, I'm so high," because it's funny because Yao is like, he's not like straight edge, but he just doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs. He's just not into it because he's really serious about trying to be a serious competitor. If say in 3 or 4 years Yao's fighting in the UFC, fails a drug test, whatever, and tells me, Jake, it wasn't for pot, and then later it comes out, yeah, it was, even as a close personal friend, I would say, well, yeah, I fucking understand. You were like back in
exactly.
the corner. Like,
and now imagine it's not you, Jake, the friend of Yao. It's Jake asking him on the MMA podcast for his official response.
Exactly, and it's somebody it's someone I don't even fucking know. In the case of Ariel and Jessica I.
Yeah, and the fact that deep down, everybody knows it, man. Everybody's seeing it. There's a change sweeping through. We all know she didn't do anything wrong. Smoking marijuana is not wrong. I said it. All right, it might be against the rules, but how many fucked up rules have been wrong? How many laws have been unconstitutional? We know the difference between right and wrong. Taking steroids, different story altogether. But nope, she's a pretty girl. She was, she's coming off her first fight. She's new to the business. Someone caught her. Someone played the gotcha game. Someone needed their hits. Someone wanted to get their fucking scoop. All right? That's all they care about. Again, they're vultures. They're easy to spot. They don't care about people. They don't. All they want to do is find the next article that's going to complain about the sport of MMA or a fighter or scandals. All right? That's all they want. That's all they care about. It's sick. It's pathetic. You'll never see it here. There's a difference between me calling a fight at work and being like, "Oh, he took a dive on that one," and ambushing someone that's on the damn show. All right, there is a difference. I wonder if Mr. Kevin Iole even reached out to Jessica I for a comment before he published his hit piece on Yahoo Sports. Did he? In fact, another fighter, he defeated my Thug Jitsu master, Yves Edwards, a couple months back, November, December, knockout win. He covers his mouth like a little fancy boy. I mean, what is that?
They call me fancy boy. You're a love man. Really walking.
Yep, he's a dandy. He's a real fancy boy.
Yancey boy.
Yep, Yancey boy Madero's. Yancey Madero's defeated the Thug Jitsu master Yves Edwards, who is one of my heroes, one of my top three favorite fighters actually of all time. Defeated him, but the win, guess what? It goes away. It's overturned because he tested positive for banned substance. But how many people gave a shit about that, Jake, off the top of your head before today, before yesterday, before people like Adam Martin and myself pointed it out? How many people were talking about Yancey Boy and demanding to know what was in his piss? Zero.
Zero.
Nobody. Okay? But Jessica I, she's a pretty girl. It's a hot story. Everybody wants to bust the brunette version of Ronda Rousey, all right? Yancey, also his first UFC fight, to my knowledge, I believe. Nobody was asking questions about him until today, until I pointed it out. Credit to Mike Bond from fucking, what, MMA Junkie? I don't even know. But I gave him credit earlier on Twitter. He said thanks. But let's be honest, that was probably only because Adam Martin and myself pointed that out. Okay, the fact that his win was overturned. No one was demanding to know exactly the contents of Yancey Boy's piss. Nobody. That's hypocrisy in journalism, all right? That's it. And you know why? Because honestly, nobody cares about Yancey Medeiros. Nobody. It's not the hot story. Like, I'll give you the word in the street. I'll give you the rumors. But I'm not going to ambush people that give me their time, all right, that talk to me like a human being. I guarantee you, every single one of these motherfuckers at the beginning opened up with, how's your dad doing, this and that, before hitting record, sticking the damn mic in her face, and backing her into a corner, all right? Oh, man. It's ridiculous. Jake, when is it going to end, man? You actually live in Denver, Colorado, where it's completely legalized. You can walk into a store and buy it, correct?
Yep.
Do you believe that Jessica I did anything wrong besides lie? But I mean, as far as the actual smoking of the banned substance, you think it was wrong? I mean, honestly, what's your take?
I mean, I feel so bad for Jessica I, because she's a victim in so many ways here. I mean, all right, yes, she did something that made her fail a drug test, and as an MMA fighter, that's not a wise thing to do. But let's look at it. The only reason weed is illegal in the first place is because there was a paper manufacturer, William Randolph Hearst, who in the 1800s put forth this crazy campaign to make marijuana a Schedule I substance. Congress didn't even know they were banning hemp, which was the main reason why this Hearst guy did it in the first place, because he knew hemp would probably take over his business because it's a better material than paper in almost every way. So in that, I think most people can agree. And you know, it's been something that's been stigmatized for a while, but as more and more young people turn, voting age, I think like a dozen states are voting this year to pass it either recreationally or medically.
What is the difference between weed and tobacco?
Tobacco will kill you a lot faster.
Oh, I didn't even consider that. But yeah, they're both plants that you smoke.
And tobacco usually is, people are smoking it with a bunch of additives that'll give you lung cancer and shit. But as far as the effect, I mean, at least for me, I don't smoke cigarettes often. I literally will probably smoke one cigarette a year, and that's just like if I'm at a bar or a party and I'm talking to someone and they step outside for a smoke, and I just say fuck it. I smoke probably literally 1,000 times more weed than I do tobacco. But but each time I've smoked tobacco, I kind of like it's kind of like drinking a cup of coffee. It kind of wakes me up a little bit. And weed, I mean, you either can smoke a sativa that makes you, which is awesome. The whole recreational thing. I can go to a shop and literally choose. All right, do I want a 100% indica? Smoking this is gonna make me, fucking really relaxed and honestly make me want to pass the fuck out. Or I can, or that's an indica, or I can smoke a sativa, which, like, if I want to write stuff, if I want to get shit done, it's a really good mind high. Or I can get a 50-50 or a 70-30, or I can get edibles of either kind. It's a really cool.
You're making everybody jealous here, man. I'm gonna take another puff.
And the city of fucking hit it up. And the city of Denver is getting so rich off of this. I mean, the first like week or two in January, I like noticed like a shitload more just people, whether it was like people downtown or cars in parking lots. Like, there were a lot of tourists here to take part of January 1st. And
State of
oh my
Colorado
God.
is on track to earn $100 million in taxes on marijuana alone. On track,
times.
right there. Definitely. And there's more reasons for tobacco to be illegal, but
More
even
reasons for
I'm not
alcohol.
against that.
I mean, shit, alcohol. I like literally. I mean, I don't want to get dark, but like, I've got, I want to say, 3 people I know from my graduating high school class who have passed away. All 3 cases were alcohol related. One was a drunk driving case. One was literally just alcohol poisoning. And the other one, it was a whole issue I don't want to get into, but it was alcohol.
Depression, one thing,
related.
right. The point is, in a perfect world, in my perfect world, you could take whatever you wanted that wasn't cheating. I mean, they don't test for alcohol or tobacco content in your blood. They test for marijuana just because it was made illegal on goofy ass reasons for no reason at all. It's not even addictive, which is
what really fucking sucks is like Coke. Like, Coke stays in your system no more than 24 hours. Weed, I think the reason a lot of fighters get popped, none of these fighters are fucking smoking doobies like the night before a fight or the day of the fight.
Well,
Like,
well,
I mean,
I can name at least 2.
Nate Diaz. Maybe, but I love the story. I think after he fought Takanori Gomi in Japan, he failed a drug test, and they were like, yeah, the levels were so high, like, we're pretty sure he smoked within a couple hours of the fight. But like,
the walkout. Yeah, he probably had a joint in his mouth during the walkout over there in Japan, and God bless him because there's nothing wrong with it.
But like, for the most part, most of these fighters are getting popped because they smoked like a week before the fight. You're gonna have absolutely zero effects, but it's just really unfortunate that THC is a very latent chemical that sticks around your body for up to 30 days, like I said.
Yeah, but let's break it down. So, I mean, Jessica I lied. But what did she lie about? Something that mattered? Did she lie about anything that mattered? Like, did she do anything wrong in the first place? What we're saying here is no. Okay, she inhaled a plant. She, of course, it's a banned substance. She shouldn't have done it being an athlete competing. But the rule shouldn't be there in the first place. It's like common sense here that has to be applied. Did she do anything wrong? No. What did she lie about? Anything serious? No. Lying, though, of course, not cool. Doing it personally, face to face, putting out a press release where it's just a bunch of lies. I'll never, of course, approve of that. But she was backed into a corner here, honestly, and she was too fresh. Right? She's not too dumb or anything. But trust me, she'll learn her lesson this time. But she was too fresh and too trusting to just say no comment. I mean, it's kind of weird when someone comes up to you and they're like, "Hey, it's just an MMA journalist and I'm a new UFC fighter. I need to talk to him." You're not gonna be like, "Stop talking. I'm not gonna answer your questions." No comment. Your instinct is gonna be to open up, but of course, she went a little too far because they pressed her too far. They backed her into that corner. They asked her those questions that really should have been asked of the Texas Athletic Commission. All right, and the TAC. I'm telling you guys, not just because I'm from Austin, Texas, the capital. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Shout out to Police Chief Art Acevedo out there. TAC did nothing wrong either, except try to keep the vultures off of Jessica I. That's really what they did. They fined her. They put her on the probationary status. They tried to cover it twice, just saying it's a banned substance. That's a fact. It was blood thinner. That's also another technical fact. And then they finally were like, okay, Jesus Christ with you people. You wanna destroy her life. You want to do this while her father is dying of cancer. Well, here you go. It was weed. Now print the story calling her a liar, pot smoking liar in front of her. That's what her father had to wake up to today. All right, all the MMA media sites that were calling her daughter the next potential Ronda Rousey, calling his daughter. Sorry. Now what he woke up to is she's a liar. She's a drug. She's a druggie. I mean, who knows how her dad feels about that? I don't even know. I mean, I pray to God he didn't even read a damn thing. It's all right. I hope he doesn't even know how to use the internet. But nope, you gotta get the scoop. You gotta get those hits on that site. You gotta go after the pretty girl and find out exactly what was in her piss, because you gotta get the most hits, most views. You gotta get what is the anytime anybody has a big breaking story now on, if you're following on Twitter, the MMA media vultures, all they do is bitch about who should get credit for it. Gives a shit, honestly. I mean, it's you see it in the sick commercial journalism on your Fox Newses, your Nancy Grace, whatever, just trolls. Just vulturing trolls. You think Nancy Grace has ever given a damn about anybody she's interviewed? These grieving mothers or fathers or daughters? No, of course not. She just wants those views. So, I'm sorry. It infects MMA it's so sad to see this happen to the sport of mixed martial arts, but that's not the only change that's coming around. We're going to see a lot of we'll move on to the next thing that got quietly announced here. Pretty much a big change in MMA. Jake, can you guess what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and if I could make one more point, because it actually transitions perfect.
Yeah, let me
into the next thing.
Take your time. I'm sorry for kind of, rambling and ranting, but I felt passionately but strongly about this. I had a lot to get off my chest, so take your time right now. I got to drink some water and calm down and have another smoke for Mrs. I.
Drink a damn glass of water for Miss I. Smoke a damn bowl for Miss I. The thing I wanted to bring up actually has to do with fighter pay. And I assume that's the next topic you wanted to talk about, the UFC changing up their bonus structure. We'll talk about that in a second.
Got it.
A story that really kind of bummed me out was Jessica I. It's already sad enough she has to start a GoFundMe account to pay her dad's medical bills. She's a top 5 women's bantamweight, and she has to ask for money from strangers to pay for her dad's cancer. Bill. That's pretty sad. I saw a story on a Bloody Elbow, and I don't know where they got the figures from because the figures are supposedly private and not known. But they had the revenue of the UFC to be, I think, $475 million, and of that revenue, they gave I believe less than 10% to fighters. Less than 20% of revenue just generated at events, and less than 10% of total revenue, which is kind of sad. Which I do get. There's a ton of overhead. Putting on a UFC show is a ton of money. They're swallowing all of it from the K. I mean, each show takes a shitload of money to put on. They're going internationally. We don't know the kind of money it takes to go to a Brazil, a Japan, a Germany, Europe, Asia. You don't know what it costs to get set up in those countries and put on fights. But it's sad that your average MLS player is making more than your average UFC fighter, when the UFC, I mean, how much more popular is it than the MLS? I mean, you have fighters who get paid $8,000 to show, $8,000 to win. We'll just say of those two guys, they average $12,000 a fight. $12,000 a fight. The average UFC fighter, I think, fights like 1.95 times a year. That's a $24,000 salary. That does not include your training. That does not all of the powders you've got to buy, the coaches you've got to pay, the
Powders.
coke.
How about the training gear and?
I don't know. You're fucking.
You have a
I'm
point
watching,
too that juicing is expensive. I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, fuck. I went to buy a thing of protein powder. It was like $60 for like a jug back in the day. I don't know if it's still as expensive. I haven't tried to buy one in a while. But yeah, I mean, these fighters aren't paying much and getting paid much. And the thing that bummed me out is Jessica I. Not only does she have to start GoFundMe to pay for her dad's medical expenses,
They're trying to take away more. They're trying to take away her next money.
yeah, she's getting screwed with the financials. And I think I saw, I don't know who said it, but apparently the word is that the UFC is letting her pay this like $1,700 fine off in like 8 increments. Like, UFC fighters are struggling so bad they only can pay off fines like a couple $100s at a time. Are you kidding me?
Fine. Well, they know it's a bullshit fine on the UFC. I mean, they knew from the UFC was probably notified before Jessica I was that she tested positive for marijuana. Everybody knew exactly what it was for. And you know what? Here's the thing. I don't care if the UFC didn't disclose it immediately or I mean, honestly, because it's going back to the root argument here that she did nothing wrong. She wasn't cheating. This was smoking dope, people. It was smoking weed. Continue, Jake, though. The fighter pay, you're saying it's low, but I do have to point out that you did give a figure out that was, it's the problem with the UFC is they obviously pay their fighters more than they disclose that they pay their fighters. So that's never taken into account because there's only one organization that would have, well, two that I know of that would have that exact figure and information, the UFC and the IRS. But go on, Jake, about the fighter pay. And then, of course, yes, we'll talk about the fact that we are doing away with the submission of the night and knockout of the night bonuses, apparently, in the UFC. By we, I mean it was quietly announced today. Very weird, actually. Random. Nobody had the scoop on that shit, did they? They were too busy wondering what was in Jessica I's piss. But Jake, go on. Fighter pay, as you were saying, and of course, what do you think about the announcement?
Yeah, that was about it. We're actually gonna have Bubba McDaniel on, not tomorrow, but the week after. It'll be interesting to talk to him about fighter pay. Saying he made, I think, only like $36,000 in 2013, which for a name that everyone recognizes, I mean, if you ask an average UFC fan who's Bubba McDaniel, both of them will know that name from the Tough season. Everyone watched Tough 17. But yeah, that's kind of sad. We'll definitely talk to him. As far as them changing the knockout and the submission of the night to performance of the night, I mean, I don't know. I guess it does seem like a lot of times recently we've either only had one knockout or one submission, or no knockouts or no submissions. So the person who gets the only submission of the night sort of defaults into getting the bonus. I don't know. I mean, I hope, I don't know if it's known yet, if the performance of the night, if they're gonna pay him more, because it used to be 50 or 60,000. If they gave out $80,000 or $90,000, I would be cool. If they're still giving out the same amount of bonus money, which I guess is cool because you can award a guy like a Diego Sanchez who just goes fucking crazy but doesn't necessarily get a knockout or a submission. But I mean, if they're paying less, then I'm obviously not for it because I don't think fighters get paid enough.
Well, I have to take kind of the opposite stance. Do they get paid enough? No, probably not enough, I would say. But here's where I'm coming from. If you're a UFC fighter, you should not bitch about being a UFC fighter and how much you're getting paid. Honestly, because you're not working for the government, you're not working for the city, you're working for a private company when it comes down to it. A private company, and it is sports entertainment. It's not a nationally organized sport. It's a private company. You're lucky to even be there in the octagon if you get the chance to be. I mean, come on, if you're a fighter, that's your dream, right? I mean, that's your ultimate goal, to at least get in the UFC at first, and then of course you want to be a champion. But
Yeah,
we don't all get.
it does have a little bit of value to it, but not enough to where you're like, oh, this was your dream, so I can pay you less.
Right, but what you see here is fighters saying they're not getting enough money or whatever when they have the opportunity to make up to what 120, 130, 150 grand, even at the lowest level. You get submission, or sorry, you get fight of the night and knockout of the night bonus, easily 120 grand, 100 grand. Of course, another marijuana victim, Patrick Bam Bam Healy. He's won that much in one night. One night, okay? Instead of getting paid 6 and 6 or 8 and 8 or 16 or whatever the fuck it was going to originally be, $100,000 in bonuses taken away because he tested positive for marijuana. People, he inhaled the plant. He breathed in the smoke. He did not cheat. Fuck. That pisses me off. He should get his money back as well. He should get his money and his win back. Jessica, I should get her win back. But the real people will know. I just want to say that to anybody that's ever been a marijuana victim. We've reported on them all the time on this show. Anybody, even if you're not even a fighter, just a person that's been arrested or done time for being in possession of a fucking natural plant. There are those amongst us who know that it's not going to matter to us. We know you did nothing wrong. And so, you're lying about nothing, basically, Jessica, I have to say. But next time, no comment. That's the biggest advice I can give. That's it. That's the only thing she did wrong. I mean, what? Who knows? Maybe her dad is the biggest anti-marijuana. Like, maybe he's just so old school. it would have devastated him if she had been just straight up with the media and just been like, yeah, I tested positive for marijuana. Just right off the bat, if she'd done that. I mean, we don't know. Getting off track again, but yeah, give Patrick Healy his 120, 130 grand back. Or it's ridiculous. You know who that? You know what these activists did? The gotchas, the let's bust them for a plant people did. They gave that money to Brian Caraway. All right, they took it from Patrick Bam Bam Healy, a real fighter, and they gave that money to Brian Caraway. Do you really want to live in that world, you people?
Blood.
That's right, man. Jesus Christ. So yeah, so they're doing away with submission of the night and knockout of the night. Jake, I want to know before I give my opinion, why do you think this is? Why do you think this happened? Do you think it's been quietly announced? I mean, how come nobody had the scoop on it? What do you think the UFC's motivation was for getting rid of it? I mean, maybe even, was it revenge? Because all these fighters are talking about, hey, we should get a union going, this and that. And, you know, I mean, maybe the UFC is just like, all right, you want to get a union? We're going to take away the bonus structure. I mean, your chance to win 100 grand in one fight, one night of your life, 100 grand. We're going to take that away. Form a union. Do what you got to do. No matter what, they're a private company at the end of the day. But Jake, why? What do you think was the motivation for getting rid of submission of the night and knockout of the night? And also, don't forget the medical aspect.
Yeah, I don't think it's any coincidence that this happened just like a week and a half after the card with the most decisions ever in UFC history. I think this is a direct response to them just trying to figure out a way for there to be less decisions on a card. Maybe put it in a fighter's head like, yeah, you might not be able to knock out a guy. Yeah, you might not be able to submit a guy. But if you go out and, you know, really work your ass off and try and go for the finish, kind of like Diego Sanchez I mentioned before, you know, if you really go out there on your shield, then you might be eligible for a bonus. And these bonuses, I mean, these are huge for all of these fighters. So,
and if you're a legend, a champion, it gets into the millions per fight, people. All right.
Oh yeah, I think GSP. Yeah, I think GSP made like 8 figures in 2013, like 12 million or something.
You know, I would love. You know how many people would kill just to have a job right now, and not only that, just to have a job that paid you based on your performance in America right now.
What?
Getting paid, and getting bonuses based on just doing your job, doing a good job, going further than anyone else, being better than everyone else, putting in more time, more hours, more training, more wins, more technique. And that's what you love to do. You're getting paid to do something you love, and you're gonna complain about it? No, not when the UFC had. I won't bash the UFC. I mean, not when they're putting out hundreds of thousands of dollars, even to somebody on the prelims that would just whoop some ass, could make that much money in one night.
Plus, all the fights are worked anyway.
Actually, that's another aspect. But yeah, I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you. So why do you think the UFC did away with the knockout of the night, submission of the night?
Like I said, just to kind of lower the amount of decisions you get. I think they really want to avoid having another card with double-digit decisions.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to specify a little bit more. Do you think there was a medical aspect to it? For instance, Lorenzo Fertitta, for some odd reason, he didn't really give too many interviews or whatever. He did a whole presentation and appearance on avoiding brain damage. I don't know if anybody actually watched that interview, but it's out there. I believe I'll give him credit. Ariel Hawaii, Ambush journalist, by the way. But MMAfighting.com has the video somewhere. Lorenzo, about a week ago, talking about speaking out against how there has to be more research done, and he wants to protect the fighter's safety. I believe him. That's why I think we're seeing this change here. I believe they specifically. Well, actually, the official statement and release from the UFC was pretty vague and short. But let's be honest, they want to make sure that they're not encouraging, these people brain damaging each other blatantly like that. I mean, it's all just. Do you think that played a part in it? I mean, you see a mainstream sport. I don't follow mainstream sports except for mixed martial arts, if you want to call it that. But I know in the NFL they're going after head injuries, and they're passing all these new rules and regulations. Is that correct? Do you think the UFC is following suit? Or do you think it's just because they want to avoid? Well, you were talking about decisions earlier.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. I mean, every league, whether it's the NFL, the UFC, it's definitely a touchy issue as far as brain injuries. And the knockout of the night is kind of like, who got most brutally separated from their own consciousness. So that is a definite possibility.
But isn't it ridiculous that that's what we all signed up for here? I mean, the two fighters signed up to be violent toward each other.
Yeah, it's
we're signing up to watch it.
It's getting mainstream to the point where the people who run the show, like, they can't really act like they're into the brutality of it. They have to act like they're into like the artistic, like fucking Rogan talks about, oh, it's a beautiful art when you have a guy who's really skilled in karate and jiu-jitsu taking on a boxer and a wrestler, and the way those styles will contrast both standing up and on the ground, and it's a really beautiful stylistic thing. That's really the angle they've got to go with now, because now that you're going on Fox, you have more and more sort of borderline fans, like my dad as a perfect example. The only fighters I think he could probably name are George St. Pierre, John Jones, and Brock Lesnar. But it's something that back when it was a smaller sport, you could embrace it and be like, oh, look at this vicious fucking KO. But now you've got to sort of pretend, which sucks. And maybe society can get to a point where we don't have to pretend we like just the brutal aspect of it. But I mean, especially now where we're like, you have NFL players who have played for a long time who like are older and they're shaken, or they're killing themselves. It really pretty quickly turns into something where if you kind of publicize the brutality of it, you're gonna get called out as like, oh, well, what about when these fighters are old and blah 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 blah, and they're suing you for this and that. It's a shitty situation.
Like I said, well, yeah, honestly, nobody wants people to get brain damaged, but like I said, we all signed up for this, all right? The fighters especially understand the risks. Trust me, there's nobody that's ever gone to aside from the people that signed up for UFC 1, I guess. There's nobody that's ever signed up for a UFC fight that did not know exactly what they were getting themselves into, that did not make their own decision. All right, nobody's forced to fight. That's why it's not barbaric. That's why it's not ancient Rome and it's gladiator status. All right, these people are not forced to fight. But yes, you have to keep it down. You have to break it down to the basics. It is two dudes fighting inside of a cage. Our hero, Mr. Chael Sonnen, says it. At the end of the day, it's just a fist fight in a cage. It's cage fighting. It's ridiculous when you break it down. If you took away the helmets and the padding, from in the NFL and saw a real game go down with these beasts, it would be ridiculous. It would just be they would say down set hike, and then half of these people would be knocked out. All right, that's how every play would end. The quarterback, eventually someone would just kill him, just break his spine.
These fucking dudes are on so much HGH and painkillers and cortisol shots or cortisone shots. They could
300, 400 pound weight
most of these dudes could probably like fight a lion. They're so jacked up during these games.
It's just car crashes. Why do you think they wear all that shit and have helmets? All right, but when you break it down, what are they doing? They're just colliding with each other over a ball. These guys are fighting in a cage, and now instead of encouraging them to, honestly, I never had a problem with knockout of the night. Sure, it's a little fucked up if you're not into fighting or watching the fight or aren't expecting to see it. Then it's brutal. It's this and that. But like I said, these are human beings making their own decision. Knockout of the night. It's incentive to give people what they want to see. The fans. I'm sorry, we want to see knockouts. We want to see highlights. We want to see finishes. That's going away right now.
People would look down on the NFL if, like, every year the NFL had, like, MVP and, like, biggest hit of the year. Like, that probably wouldn't fly.
Exactly. But this is different because it's a combat sport. It is a combat sport. All right, it's about fighting. It's about violence. But I don't like seeing the UFC do this, man. I don't like them seeing it cave in little by little. Not when it's a combat sport and it's between two people. It's not two teams. It's not two organizations. It's just two people that fighting each other. But the UFC giving in a little bit. It's only a matter of time before people start demanding headgear. Would you watch the UFC if they were wearing headgear?
Fuck
Honest
no,
question.
I would not. No.
Yep.
I probably wouldn't. And well, I'll let you finish up this topic before I get into something else the UFC recently started doing again. that's
sure,
in my
that's
opinion.
pretty much it. Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah, I was just gonna point out one more thing that
Go ahead.
the taking away the knockout of the night and submission of the night bonus, it will lead to more work to fights. Fighters just rolling around, making it look good for the crowd, pulling punches, breaking out of submissions by miracles, talking to each other even more than they already do. What you're gonna see more works because there's no incentive to actually try and knock out your opponent. I was going to say try and kill your opponent, but most of these fighters aren't trying to kill each other. We've never seen anything like that. All right,
That's what happens. That's what happens when I fuck up with the drop.
It is possible that I am just smoking crack and that you are all right. All right. That was a drop of me, all right. Like I said, I honestly believe that they're taking away an incentive to knock somebody out is just going to lead to more works. I'm sorry. You'll see it. Trust me. This does go further to prove what I've always said. It is sports entertainment. At the end of the day, they'll do whatever it takes to make as much money as possible. They're a private organization and company. I would do the same thing. Most people would. Most people do. So Jake, what else is UFC or the MMA in general doing that you were touching on? I actually have no idea where he's going.
They're going after fans again. They did it in, I think, 2012. I think like May 2012. They said that, oh, this site streamed a few fights, and not only are we going after the site, but we got all their email addresses and IP addresses, and we're going after everyone who streamed the fight. And they recently did this again with some fucking other site. Basically saying the same exact thing. Not only are we taking down the site, but we have all the users' information, and we're going after the users, which, in my opinion, there couldn't be anything dumber for the UFC to do.
Well, I don't actually believe that this is the first time that they've done this.
That's what I said. They
Right.
did it in May 2012. They did it.
And then I remember there was also another instance where they went after a fan for downloading an illegal pay-per-view or watching the stream. But he tweeted Dana personally, one-to-one. It was like, hey, man, they're coming after me or my bar or something like that because I aired the fight or something. And Dana White took care of it, looked past it. But you're saying that the UFC is wrong to be suing anybody over it. I mean, because again, I do take the opposite stance here. I'm on the UFC side here. I pay for every fight, pay-per-view. I have the fight pass. I've gotten even the DVDs. But has there been a download of a pay-per-view afterwards? Because of course, your DVR doesn't work or something like that.
Well,
I can either confirm or deny, but what I'm saying is, why do you think it's a bad thing that they're going after the fans? I mean,
to me, the like proper metaphor seems like, all right, go after these sites because yes, they're illegally streaming your shit. They shouldn't be doing it. But these sites that all right, you made the example of a guy who showed the UFC at a bar without the UFC's permission. That would be like suing everybody in the bar for watching the UFC. Like, it's the exact same thing. The internet. Why would I pay? And I'm not saying this from my perspective, because of course I would never do anything that heinous. But why would I pay $60 for something that I know I can just go to a website and watch for free? Especially when you're in the position of me where, I just moved across the country. I'm still looking for a job. Money isn't exactly flowing at the current moment. If I wanted to watch every pay-per-view in 2013, I'm spending over $1,000. And I don't care if you're in my shoes where you don't have much money or whether you're making six fucking figures. $1,000 is a lot, and I've said it on my show and probably yours a bunch. I'm not a big WWE guy, but the WWE nailed it. They have like a thing, like for $10 a month, you get every pay-per-view, blah, blah, blah. It's sort of like the Fight Pass, just to actually get quality content. But, they offer the live pay-per-views to where you're not spending $60 each time, because $60 is a lot of money. For me, $60 is my power bill, or $60 is a week's worth of groceries. And I will support the UFC all I can. I traveled to Las Vegas for UFC 167. But I buy the pay-per-views when I can, and a lot of times I'll figure out stuff. I'll have friends over, and we'll all chip in. I've had friends over for a UFC a bunch, and we always buy the pay-per-view, and I'll chip in $5 or $10, or I'll go out to a bar or something. But really, to honestly expect somebody to pay $60 for something they can stream for free, and these aren't like any like people. This isn't like my dad who only knows John Jones and GSP and Lesnar. The people who are streaming the UFCs, these are the dedicated fans. These are the hardcore fans. These are the fans that you don't want to piss off and you don't want to take to fucking court. You want to make them fans of the sport for their entire life. So to say, you know, oh well, these people are wrong. You may as well sue every single person in a bar that's streaming it for free.
Sue everybody.
Because they're doing the exact same thing. I mean, you know, it's
It was a Jerky Boys reference. Sorry.
But yeah. I mean, honestly, when I look at it, I just think it's a really, really foolish move for the UFC to just start gunning after their biggest supporters. I mean, shit. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you.
No, well, actually, this was a pretty smart move, and it's pretty easy to read between the lines on this one. Basically, Fight Pass.
It's just a PR move to fucking scare people. All it is a PR move. Yeah, I've never heard an actual story of like a bunch of fans being like, "What the fuck? The UFC suing me," but it's
nobody.
It's a scare tactic. Yeah, it's a scare tactic for sure.
This will probably get dropped in court a little months down the road, and whatever. Somebody will pay $150 or whatever the hell he stole. It doesn't matter. We all this one's obvious. They just gotta get it into your head. Get the Fight Pass. Honestly, I will wholeheartedly support the UFC and buying the Fight Pass, the UFC Fight Pass, because it is the only way to see the upcoming season of The Ultimate Fighter 3 in Brazil. Chael Sonnen versus Vanderlei Silva. Team Darkside returns again. Can they win the whole thing again? We'll see if you have the Fight Pass. And also keep in mind, I mean, Jake, if you don't have a Fight Pass, I'm asking you, and from here on out for the rest of the show, just open mic, whatever, doesn't matter, dude. If you don't have the Fight Pass, I'm not sure if you're even going to buy one or not, Jake, or if you're going to pay for it. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do on the nights when it's a Fight Pass fight night? You're going to watch some shitty ass stream? I mean, isn't it a pain in the ass already? Well, I'm not saying that you do or don't, but isn't it a pain in the ass watching a pay-per-view online illegally anyway? What viruses and the stream doesn't?
I have no idea.
The stream has got to be absolute shit.
I wouldn't know.
Of course, I'm not accusing you. I'm not going to ambush Jake here. I'm not going to be like, no, I demand to know. You tell me right now, Jake. All right, that would be ambushing Jake, which I don't do. I am not a vulture. Now, getting back to what we were talking about, though, I believe that it is. I think it's stealing, dude. Honestly, I don't do it. I pay for it every time. I've never regretted buying a pay-per-view because of the fact that to do otherwise, to watch an illegal stream, that would be stealing not only from the UFC, but from the fighters. All right, the less money the UFC makes, the less the fighters make. So how can you complain about fighter pay? Not you, Jake, but I mean, how can anyone complain about fighter pay and they're downloading, they're not paying for the pay-per-views? You're taking it right from the fighters' mouths, and I refuse to do that. I have too much respect for them, honestly. And I go to work every day. It's not like I only make 8 figures, people. 8. But it still hurts a little bit. $60, but I've never regretted it. I mean, who has? Except for maybe I guess the last one might have been a little.
I was about to say that, yeah, but
it was 2 championship fights.
I don't know if I can justify paying the UFC more than I do my power company over the course of a year.
Right? Yeah, that's it. It is going to get a little pricey. It's going to get up there, but at the same time, I mean, what's better than the UFC right now? Is the product worth it to you at your level of fandom? And if you had the means, you'd pay it. Not
Definitely.
you, Jake, again, but
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what I'm
not
saying.
me.
Yeah, if you had it, you'd pay it. But I want the people that are on the edge there, the people that can afford it but don't pay for it. I just want you guys to know it is stealing. I mean,
Hey, and when Dana White goes after some of the most dedicated UFC fans out there, let's not forget like a few months ago when Justin Bieber tweeted out, "Hey, does anybody have a stream for the UFC? I'm looking for an illegal stream." And Dana White's like, "Justin, cut it out." Like, really? You're
can you
gonna
imagine?
you're gonna be fucking lenient with like a millionaire pop star, but not with the most dedicated fans of yours who are, middle class.
Yep. I'm gonna. Here's the competition. All right. Your best Dana tweet. If his name hadn't been Justin Bieber, same pick, same kid, same tweet,
Oh my god!
but his name wasn't Justin Bieber.
It would have been
What
like
would Dana's tweet?
you fucking
You goofy
hair
looking
gel,
fuck.
you fancy boy fuckhead. Like all right, let's not lie. He 100% would have called him a faggot, like without a doubt, 100%.
At least some sort of queer. I think he's from Boston, isn't he originally?
Some queer, yeah. I think he's from like Southie or some shit.
I don't even know the difference. I've never even been up there. I'm not even gonna lie. Shout out to Yao the Truth though, and of course Ross, the best shoe in the business, Finkelstein. Ross Finkelstein. Hope you come back, man. You gotta come back someday. You too, Alan out there. I almost gave out your full title and name.
Like a doctor.
And Joey Diaz I've been to California, but I haven't been there in the past 10, 15 years. So shout out to the West Coast.
Sometimes you
Everybody.
hide your weed and you don't know where you put it, but you get high and you'll find it.
Goddamn right, man. In fact, I'm finding it right now. This one is also going out to Jessica I again and Mr. Patrick Healy. Give him his money back, Healy. That's what he should change his fighter nickname to. Give me my money back, Healy. All right. The fuck were we talking about? Oh yeah, don't steal if you can afford it, because it is stealing. Not only from the UFC and the corporation and the man, if that's your thing, you want to fight the man or whatever, or you think all content should be free for some fucking reason. It's a private company, and you're taking money away from the fighters, while at the same time bitching about fighter pay. It doesn't make sense. Especially, damn, these people are putting their lives on the line here. Does your job involve that? Not many people
Yes.
can claim that. Mr. Allen can. But you get what I'm.
I just started
Going
working
back
as a
like
lion
this.
tamer. It does.
Yes. So yeah, get the damn Fight Pass. Because honestly, what are you gonna watch a shitty stream of the Fight Pass, and you're gonna have to dig around, search for it. I mean, when it can be in HD quality for only $9.99, you're gonna get at least 2 to 3 events per month. Not to mention the greatest season, I'm predicting it already, of The Ultimate Fighter. Chael Sonnen versus Vanderlei. You're going to see the rumble in the jungle that is Brazil. For that reason alone, I got to say, get it.
I'm very sympathetic to people who watch the streams, but I am 100% gonna buy the Fight Pass. It's not expensive. I mean, you can pay the exact same for Netflix or Hulu Plus, and who the fuck wants to watch the fucking Big Bang Theory, Sleepless in Seattle? You don't have time for that bullshit. UFC Fight Pass. Go back, watch previous events.
Even pay-per-view events.
I saw our boy Sean Sheehan posted out a screenshot from UFC Fight Pass. If you watch the right video and pause it at the right moment, you will see Brittany Palmer's nipple in full HD. It's good times.
Yep, it's even better in person, people. Trust me, that is the word on the street.
Hell yeah.
I started off angry, going off about Jessica but I'm glad we brought it around here full circle. Actually,
Yo,
pretty pumped, sweet. Yes.
talk about bringing it back. You did mention something at the start of the show we haven't touched on yet.
What's that?
The MMA owl.
Oh, that's correct. Mr. Hoo Hoo himself, not Howard Stern. Some clown, and I will shout out his ridiculous website, MMA Owl, as in like hoohooOwl.com. Also snuck in his little hit piece and happened to target pretty much some of my favorite people on the Twitters in the MMA media scene. Not media scene, but in the circle. Who did he put on blast? Bloodstained Lane mainly. He wrote an article or something. The whole thing was about homophobia, and he had included tweets from Bloodstained.
BSL, a guy named
Front
MMA
Row.
Sun, Front Row, Diz, like I read the fucking article. Diz didn't even say anything homophobic. All he did is like mention this whole Michael Sam thing. Like it shouldn't be that big of a story, which is the exact opposite of homophobia. It's like, I don't want to fucking treat him any differently. Like gay people are normal, and this fucking owl shithead's like, oh, Diz is also a homophobe and he's a piece of shit. I mean, yeah, BSL, if you all right. Personally, I think it's all about having thick skin. You shouldn't let people piss you the fuck off. He said a few things where I was like, damn, Lane, you really went that fucking far. But you know what? He it's his own fucking thing. Like, why? I don't know.
It was hilarious.
Some fucking
Come on.
thick skin. Yeah, dude.
If you weren't laughing your ass off,
I was
at the
laughing
Gervais
my
and
ass off,
Bloodstained
yeah.
Lane thing. I mean, honestly, what would? Yes, it was completely.
I get back
It
from
was
the
wrong.
fucking gym. I get back from the fucking gym, and Bloodstained Lane and Ricky Gervais are in the middle of a fucking Twitter war. Oh my god.
Basically, Bloodstained Lane keeps repeatedly, insulting and calling Ricky Gervais, a quote faggot, amongst other things, a cocksucking blood.
I think I have a drop for that.
He
too.
is a faggot. Exactly.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what was claimed. Ricky Gervais, I don't even know what he's famous for. I know he's an actor or something, or a comedian. And I know he had one fake boxing match that was a total work. But yeah, him and Bloodstained Lane went at it. And yes, Bloodstained did make some homophobic. Well, let's face it. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was to me, it was wrong. But it's only, I also understand at the same time that it's only wrong to me. To me, it's wrong.
And I
That
have
doesn't
heard
make
a
it-
lot worse. And BSL, I'm pretty sure, was just doing it for comedy. I mean, he's doing
course.
shit like he's fucking calling girls disgusting harlots and shit. It's, I mean, if you can't honestly, when I first heard about this BSL guy and looked at his feed, I thought he was being fucking serious, and I was like, wow, this guy's a fucking douchebag. But then I realized, dude, this is one of the best gimmicks in the fucking
It's a genius work. He's a character. People have to understand that he's Bloodstained Lane, right?
And it's not like he denies this. He has said in videos that people like Andrew Dice Clay are fucking inspirations.
Exactly.
It's
He's a persona, man. Some people feel good putting on a certain sports jersey. Some people feel good wearing their favorite kicks. All right, I learned that from Yao, from Queens.
I assumed.
Kicks. So some people feel good putting on their UFC gear. It's that some people feel good putting on a persona, and honestly, I can attest to the fact that he is from Queens. If he was not letting out his aggression in this manner, he would probably walking up. He'd be walking up and down the streets with a baseball bat in hand, just looking for a reason. Okay, so I'm glad that Bloodstained Lane lets it all out on the net, on the Twitter, in his hilarious videos. I mean, you got to laugh your ass off, unless he's talking about you uh, or you take life too seriously. Like, it's so outrageous, you have to laugh your ass off. It is subtle comedy. Um, yeah, it's racist, it's dark, it's deep, it's also the way some people out there really not are, but he represents an unspoken, silent, not majority, but inequality, especially in this country. He's Bloodstained Lane. He's a character, people. But no, before I forget, this MMA Al son of a bitch, who I don't even know, even though Jakey told me Duke
Yo,
Brzezinski or something like that, or who is this guy for real that wrote the article?
Duke Brzezinski, not even well, I don't know what his name is, but I'm not even gonna mention his Twitter because homie doesn't deserve any follows.
Okay, well, I was pretty close with. I don't know.
I
I've
don't
already
know what
shouted out
name
his
is.
website.
I'm gonna look it up.
I
Duke Brzezinski. Yeah, it's.
I actually encourage people to look him up and put him on
It's
blast.
Untethered Subo. That's untethered UNTETHERED SUBO. And I guess you were close to his name, Duke Brzezinski. It's
Untethered
Derek Subo Tiki. So he's untethered Subo, because I'm so untethered. All of you sheeple are also tethered to the man, but I'm untethered. I'm untethered Subo. I'm the MMA owl.
And yes, I want to say to whoever this guy is, fuck you, especially for trying to put my man Diz from Talk MMA on Twitter on blast. Fuck you, Derek Brzezinski, whatever your name is, untethered sub.
Duke Brzezinski. I don't know why that cracks me up so much. Oh.
Whatever his name is, fuck him especially, because honestly, you were right. He pulled that Diz insult out of nowhere, insult my man.
I know, like Diz fucking tweeted at him. This fucking tweet at he didn't even mention how it was a homophobic comment, was just like fuck him, and basically the whole article, all it was like, oh, look at him, he's being a bigot, oh, look at him, I don't like him, and literally the last paragraph was like, okay, everybody, let's all stop following these people. What the fuck was this is just like the
he called for brutal, forceful, vengeful.
This is when the loser calls up his a loser friend, and he's pissed because Twitter isn't fair, blah blah blah. We need revenge, and these people need to stop being followed. Fuck off, Duke Brzezinski.
That's right, man. I hope he forgets to renew his domain, and then someone snatches up his website. All right. I hope his car spins out of control and he's unharmed but scared to death almost.
You know what, Duke, you might be a fucking owl, but we're eagles here on the Word on the Street.
You're goddamn right. And that will bring us to the wrap up of the show almost. There's one more topic, dude. But yeah, just one more time in case maybe he wasn't paying attention or hibernating. I don't know what owls do. Fuck you, Mr. Badusky, whatever. Specifically because of the Diz thing that came out of nowhere and was undeserved. It must be something
And-
personal. Who
And
knows?
the fucking Brian thing, he literally didn't mention anything about FRB other than like at like the very end. I don't know if like the fucking drugs started kicking in or what, but he's just like, yeah, and front row Brian too. He's a piece of shit. Like,
Yep.
all right, way to just like I don't
Right.
Like, oh,
He mentioned that Brian had tweeted some like homophobic, like borderline tweets, but he
I looked at his
failed,
tweets. He
failed to
didn't
post
say.
those.
Yeah,
Right.
He didn't say
He had no
anything.
proof of that.
Yeah, other than speculating if Urban Meyer's the gay, which I think is pretty obvious to most people who know the situation with he and my boy Timmy T.
Right. The gay is that the gay NFL player or whatever's going on?
No, that's a whole different issue.
Wait. So what was the owl?
The
was
owl
saying-
was talking about the NFL guy. I don't know. Maybe Brian said something about Michael Sam, but I even looked at his feed and I didn't see anything that was like even borderline offensive.
Yeah, of course not. I mean, well, yeah, this was another just a hit piece, a trolling, but obviously for hits, which he got, and he got a mention on my show. But I mean, if you want to follow on Untethered Subdom, what was it?
It's
I don't-
at Duke Bazinski, no, at Untethered Subo. Untethered, like you're, I'm not
Subo.
tethered to the. Yeah, Subo is his last name. Subo Tiki. It's Derek Subo Tiki, aka Duke Bazinski.
Honestly, it's probably somebody that is gay or hiding it and is just acting out and getting hits in the process. God bless him. But honestly, don't fuck with my man Diz. Come on, that was uncalled for. I understand the bloodstained lane thing at least. That was ridiculous. I mean, it's
I'm
only
actually
wrong.
pulling it up now. Let me read the exact tweet. Which
He almost calls for violence at the end of it against everyone, I believe.
he's calling hits on people. Oh my
Yeah, he
god.
said something about what we need to do. Like you mentioned his rally, but he says like violently or God damn it, I didn't pull up his piece of shit article ahead of time because that's like it's already flushed it, you know.
Expressing shock and dismay, be it genuine or feigned, at the rising rejection to their philosophy, means that the bigots have either deluded themselves into thinking they hold a majority position, or they have surrounded themselves with like-minded, small-minded brethren for years, creating an epidemic closure that can only be brought down by force.
I have no. Yeah, doesn't he say something like about forceful, vengeful countermeasures or something at the end of it?
Drummed out of our ranks. That's what should have happened. This is what should happen now. Public condemnation. Brutal, forceful, and relentless. This is the only thing that can pierce the veil these morons have made for themselves.
Almost like you're some sort of corrupt preacher. That's exactly what this guy sounds like, except he got a hold of some big words and a website. Like I said,
Diz said there are and have been gay football players in the NFL before. Your alleged story
That's
is
a
nothing
fact.
special.
that's a fact as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a little different that he's openly gay, but I think as far as the locker room thing, which that's all that fucking matters, to bring it all the way back to the original point of fuck these media members and fuck fans too, who think they're so entitled, like, oh, this person didn't do this and that, and fuck them. If you're a fan or you're a member of the media, the only thing you're entitled to do is buy a ticket and watch watch the damn fights. Everything else, whether you're meeting people, whether you're getting a tweet, whatever it is, they don't owe you shit. So it
Yep.
brings it all the way back to the point of people who fucking think, oh, I don't even know what what point I was making in the first place.
You were actually on track to a good point, which is,
Yeah.
of course, fuck the MMA media. But what they're doing is not stating their opinion and reporting the facts. In this case, with the hit pieces that I read, I mean, they're trying to destroy this girl's Jessica's life. Like, they've effectively destroyed her life for right now. She's probably a mess. She's probably having a nervous breakdown. Who knows what the hell the real situation is with the father. Go ahead.
Realize where I was going, but yeah, I mean, Diz makes a good point that there have been players who have been gay and their teammates know about it. The only difference with Michael Sam is that fans and media know about it, but in the big scheme of things, do we even have a right to know if any of these players are fucking gay or not? Do we have a right to know in the same breath whether they have kids, whether they're married, whether they smoke weed, whether they fucking like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? It doesn't fucking matter. There's no I mean, yeah, if fighters, which I don't know if it's a result of this whole social media thing, and now that fighters are a lot more open with fans, fans expect more out of them. But yeah,
Yep.
I'm looking at the article. Diz, I can get where he's coming from. BSL had some harsh words for the homie coming into the NFL. He just came out of the closet.
But it's the same as like me tweeting that, I don't know, Grumpy Cat on Twitter or Batman on Twitter and getting mad at something he posted. It's a character, like the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's like, oh, well, the Iron Sheik just said he's going to take Tom Brady and he's going to break his back over his knee and come in his eyeballs. This is something, we that would be sexual assault, and Tom Brady can't be sexual. Like, it's just getting to the point of, you know what? I disagree with a lot of shit I fucking read on Twitter, whether it's political or what. But I have thick skin, and you know what I do? I just think, they have a different opinion than me. I don't, grab my keyboard. No, you're wrong.
They
blah,
must
blah,
be
like,
condemned.
Yeah,
what
right.
needs
Just
to happen now?
Move out to
MMA
Colorado. Buy some fucking legal weed. Yo, MMA Owl, the craziest thing of all is MMA Owl lives in Colorado. The owl should be stoned as fuck, but
Probably was writing that shit, man. I don't even know. I'm hoping it was a sick joke by Duke, man. Baczynski, man, if you're out there, dude, you gotta turn it around, man. I'm telling you right now, that is the word on this street. We could have, instead of having 3 new friends, have at least 20 new enemies. I guarantee you that. You son of a bitch. Fuck you.
Duke Baczynski.
Damn right, people. And shout out to Front Row Brian, Bloodstained Lane, my man Diz, at Talk MMA on Twitter. Whoever the hell else this Duke guy is fucked with. And God bless everybody, even though I don't believe in religion. But there's what this guy's doing here, calling for public condemnation of somebody. That's your basic. That's like your Bible huckster. That's your fire and brimstone approach to things. That's your let's stone Frankenstein. The mob mentality, the vulture mentality. That's exactly what I am raging against in this podcast. But we will end on a positive note. Jake, did you hear about Chael Sonnen taking the time, risking his life, his security, his looks like damn near his marriage. All these chicks kissing on him. Meeting his Brazilian fan club, his official Brazilian fan club as they've now become. But did that actually? I haven't talked to you about it at all. Did you hear that he did that? Did that make it not in the news, but you know what I'm saying? Did it make it on your front page?
I'm friends with Coach Huey and Coach Clayton on Facebook, so I saw the pictures they were posting up, and yeah, it was really fucking cool, and I think it's a hilarious juxtaposition where you have Vanderlei, who will be infamous for not showing up to interviews and not being that fan friendly. Yeah, I'm not.
And he doesn't live in Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he is a horrible person and won't speak with fans and be nice or anything, but I mean, it's kind of funny how Chael Sonnen is doing more like fan promotions in Brazil than Vanderlei Silva. When Vanderlei Silva wants to be like, no, you disrespect the country, you do this, you do that, but Chael's the one going out fucking, rubbing shoulders with the Brazilian fans.
Your impression was too easy to understand that I could tell what you were saying.
You go to Brazil. I know it's going to Brazil. I see the Brazil fancy.
There you go.
I want to fuck Chuck.
Fuck Chuck. Fuck fight the Chuck. Good. God bless Vanderlei too. But yeah, you're all right. Chael definitely doing a better job with the fans as always, and the promotion. Apparently, he even got jumped by Vanderlei's guy. We covered that whenever it broke. But I do want to point out that two of the members that met Chael Sonnen represented his fan club in Brazil. Were on the show a couple weeks ago. Check it out on Twitter. Well, on Twitter, Jesus Christ. On YouTube, check out the interview. Just search Word on the Street. Chael Sonnen Brazil fan club. We did an interview with two of them, Caroline and Rafael. They ended up meeting Chael about 2 days ago. They met all of Team Sonnen. Of course, all of Team Darkside showed up. Coach Jamie, the living legend Huey, one of Chael's boxing trainers and coaches. Ultimate Fighter coach, alumnus from 17, repeating again right now as we speak. He will be on the show soon. We're going to have to... I'm going to have to give him a call or something, line up a little time. There's a time zone difference. Otherwise, he would be here tonight on the show with us. I guarantee you that. So shout out there to the coach. I hope he gets at least a chance to pop this in and hear it. Shout out to all of Team Sonnen. Thank you, Chael Sonnen, for taking the time to meet your fans. I know it's huge risk meeting anybody, scheduling anything in advance, but looks like we pulled it off. Just everybody had a good time. Lives were changed. I've seen some videos. People were, crying, getting their pictures, smiling, laughing. Apparently, the guys hung out for hours with them. Real good opportunity for them. I'm glad it happened, and they did. They were taping for The Ultimate Fighter and for Globo and the television stations up there in Brazil, which is huge. It was just a news report that he met with his Brazilian fans. It was an excellent PR move. Excellent move. And like I said, it changed those people's lives. I've already heard from at least four of them. 4 of the Brazilian fan club members that got a chance to be there. They've all said the same thing, They're all still pumped. They haven't been able to even sleep. Still, like it was the biggest thing. That's probably it's going to be one of their top 5 moments in their lives. Let's face it. I mean, and it's not often that you get that opportunity. It was such a private meeting. He only met with 10 of them, even though he has thousands of fans in Brazil and part of his Brazil fan club, which you can follow at FC, I want to make sure I get this right. Don't screw anybody here. FC_SonnenBR on Twitter. FC_SonnenBR on Twitter. The Brazilian fan club. You can look them up on Facebook too. Again, it was probably the only one of the only smiles that we got out of the MMA media this week. Everything else, just attacks, vultures, just ambushes, man. But nice guy like Chael Sonnen takes the time out of his life to meet with some people, a small group of people in Brazil. He's already watching his back 24/7, but he did this. So credit to that man. You can't say that he's racist against Brazilians anymore. All right, I'm sorry. You have at least 10 Brazilians that will disagree with you vehemently. And the pictures are cool. Check them all out. It's kind of cool seeing the behind the scenes stuff that's going to go down on Tough 3 Brazil, available only on Fight Pass in North America and the UK. Sonnen versus Vanderlei Silva. Good times. Jake, let's go ahead and put a bow on this shit, man. Where are you from? Who are you? Where can people find you? When's your podcast going down? What's happening? What's the word on the street?
You can check out the MMA podcast. We have a lot of interesting interviews down the barrel. Herschel Walker. I randomly tweeted about Herschel Walker's dog and got a follow and a retweet. So we're going to be talking to Herschel Walker about his dog, Cheerio.
For those who don't know who Herschel Walker is,
he only fought twice in mixed martial arts, but he's a well-known name. In football, originally, he won the Heisman Trophy, which is college football's biggest honor. He played in the NFL, made it to a couple all-pro teams. Was famous. Was a successful NFL and college football player, and then late in his life, in his 40s, fought a couple times for Strikeforce. Absolute animal. Hector Lombard as well.
He's an O.J. Simpson that didn't kill his wife. Sorry
Exactly.
to keep interrupting, but don't worry.
Exactly.
You're in control of the time clock here, Jake. Go on.
Hell yeah. And Bubba McDaniel next week. John Hackelman and his son. I want to set it up to where we have them both on at the same time. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, the MMA podcast. Follow us on Twitter every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. Or visit themmapodcast.com and work on updating that a little more often. We appreciate the shit out of you, the listener, and I appreciate the shit out of you, Ramses. Word on the street.
Hell yeah, people. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week. Next Tuesday, I don't know what's going on. I'll try to get a guest as always. But thank you for tuning in. Follow me on Twitter. Right now, it's the Aunt Jimmy Show. I'm going to change that soon. But thank you all, anybody that's listening, anybody that's going to listen in the future, even 1,000 years from now, for some random reason, writing up a high school paper in the year 3000. Shout out to everybody, except that fucking Duke Baczynski that wrote that shit about Talk MMA. And you know what? Kevin Ioli, you better think about it next time, because of what you succeeded in doing was sabotaging, trying to... You put Jessica in a bad place over smoking a plant. She did nothing wrong. All right, cut it out. Leave her alone. You didn't go after Yancey. You didn't try to spot that. Nobody was asking questions about Yancey Medeiros' failed drug test. We all know what this was. It was gotcha journalism, going for the big story and the scoop. You fake ass reporters. I don't respect you and never will. See you next week. That is the word on the street.
Break his neck, beat him up, break his neck, beat him up.
Don't play, take me through it.
Well, I'm the best corner in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you gon' get. Don't you ever talk about me.
Who was talking about you?
Crabtree, don't you open your mouth about the best. Or I'm gonna shut it for you real quick. LOB.